It is time for an update on a car that we still need to name. I don't really know what we're going to call it, but it's time for an update. I've been busy in the garage. Let me show you what I've been up to. So, the engine bay side of things, well, I can get this out. Let me just get this out of the, hold on, I'll get it. All right, hold on, give me 1 second. All right, so, engine bay, what did I get done? A whole lot of nothing. We got new spark plug wires, MSDs. We got new plugs gapped appropriately. We have all the unnecessary wiring has been removed. We have the new BP Automotive wiring harness installed. We have the fuel pressure regulator and the fuel feed and return lines routed properly. I do not like how they are right next to the downpipe, but sometimes you gotta just live dangerously. This little guy is leaking, so I'll have to replace that still. And but otherwise, the fuel lines are done and they're run. I replaced the power, it didn't really have a power post, it was just a bunch of butt connector power lines down there, and this was kind of cut out a little haggard, so I straight cut this hole out, and then we added main power feed to the chassis and to respective relays, and we have coolant fan main power to the relay, and then you also have main power from the starter. This cable goes down to the starter post, and then the starter post is where the chassis grabs main power. So the main battery line goes straight to the starter. We piggyback off the starter to the main power post. And we also take the alternator with a new 4-gauge wire and we go straight to the starter from the alternator so the charging system can properly loop. We still have gauges to install, the cheapest eBay gauges I could find. And they're gonna go into a center pod that's gonna go in those vents, which should be okay. The fuel pump hanger, I ran out of heat shrink, so do not judge me. But you can see we have Seal All has sealed all of these port openings where it wasn't sealed before, so no more gas vapor in the cabin. Also, the wiring, if you can see, it does look like a big glob, but all that Seal All stuff is gas resistant, so fuel vapor stay in, don't get out. This is an alternative to having to spend $600 or $700 on a custom dual pump hanger. The relay setup, this is from Dynasty in Louisville. They sent me these relays. This is your trigger wire from the actual chassis. So if you're working on an S13, this main harness in the back, if you locate the red wire, this red wire is hot with key on. So hot key on, all you need is, you don't need a crazy gauge wire because all this is a trigger for the relays to activate. You have main power coming from the battery all the way to the back side of this power post. This is a 150 amp breaker. So power on, power off. When you power it on, the main power feeds across the breaker. And that, if you follow it, goes all the way to a fuse panel, 25 amp fuses. The other side goes all the way to the relays. And then the relays feed main power to the pumps. The pumps are grounded to the chassis. Notice how there's no paint behind that nut. Sick! There is way cleaner ways to mount your relays with heat shrink and make it look really nice. The bottom line is, it works, it's good, it's better than what we had there before. I don't know if you saw the wiring, the relay wiring before. I'll put a picture next to me so you can take a look at what it was and compare it to what it is now. The other thing is the fuel pump hanger itself. There was just AN hose slipped over some fittings and tightened down with some hose clamps. AN hose in nature is not submersible. So if you go and you buy some Frigola or Aeroquip or hell, even the cheap Chinese Vibrant hose, this is not submersible. So when you use that hose in your fuel tank, it will eat away at the lining, it'll destroy it, and you'll get cracks and splits and you will lose pressure and you'll blow your engine up. So always use Gates or Dayco makes submersible hose. And also Holley offers submersible hose as well, but use submersible hose in your fuel tank if you're doing an intake setup. Submersible. Say it with me. Submersible hose. Here's the deal. Let me clean this off so I can sit. Here's the deal with intercooler piping for a setup like this. I don't have a welder. I don't know how to weld, and I don't want to inconvenience any of my friends with this project because, you know, it is what it is. So the plan is, because I'm only gonna run maybe 14 to 16 pounds of boost at most, I'm just going to cut aluminum piping and I will use silicone couplers and make it work that way. I hate using a ton of silicone couplers on any kind of full race stuff, but this will be, for what we're doing with this car, it'll be more than enough. We shouldn't have any issues. I say that, and now we'll probably have issues. Do not quote me. Damn it. Let's take a look at what I purchased. This is, you know, your basic 3-inch eBay intercooler kit. You know, come on, I'm not gonna spend real money on this thing. So we have a bunch of 3-inch 90s and 180s and 45s, straight pipes, and an ass load of couplers, which is a metric measurement for a ton. So we got couplers, we got clamps that will absolutely break down the road. So I'll probably replace the clamps with LJMS clamps because John's so awesome. But for now, it's gonna be cut, couple, clamp, cut, couple, clamp, cut, couple, clamp, cut, couple, clamp, which is awesome. And guess what? My girlfriend gave me a tripod for Christmas so I can time lapse the whole thing. You can just watch me going nuts. Before I go any further, I want you to understand that this is like the worst method to cut aluminum. A bandsaw or a skill saw is so much easier and better than using a cutoff wheel. I just don't have either of those, so I'm stuck with this. But don't do this, don't follow my lead. This sucks. Hitachi doesn't suck, but this method of cutting aluminum sucks.
Do, you know, as I say to do, but don't do what I'm doing to others. Do as they would do to you. Do me, like you would do me.
I can't find my safety glasses, so we're gonna helmet up for this. If you think it's funny, catch a piece of aluminum to the eye and then tell me how you feel. It's not real carbon either, it's just fake carbon, so I'm not, you know, whatever you wanna call it. You'll notice the edges of the cutoff wheel get super, super chippy and they just get ready to break. They don't do well with aluminum. And then your actual final product is a pile of garbage. So every time I cut, I have to file, sand, file, sand, file, sand. If you have a bandsaw or a jigsaw, it's a way, way, way cleaner cut and you don't have to do as much cleanup. Like I said, I would much rather do a jigsaw or a bandsaw, but I'm working with this pile of garbage instead. Do not do this. It's stupid and it's dumb and I'm stupid for doing it. There you have it. Driver's side is wrapped up. We got intake air temp sensor, blow off valve. We have a straight to a 90, and you got another 90 down here to another 90 right here. 2.5 to 3-inch coupler, 3-inch straight coupler, 3-inch coupler, 3-inch coupler, and then a 3 to, I believe 3 3/4. I can't remember, 76 millimeter throttle body. So whatever that is. But in doing this, we eliminate couplers like this that kind of plagued the whole car. So at bare minimum, our couplers look sick. Not sick, totally sick. Polished, matte, polished, matte, polished, matte. I'm a person of the people, baby. I'm a person of the people. Well, if you're watching, I'm sorry. I don't think you should. Turn it off. So driver's side wrapped up, over to the passenger side. The way the turbo is clocked right now, get down here, I can show you. It's pretty difficult. It's kind of hard to tell the orientation, but it's difficult to hit that really pristine intercooler inlet with a 90 that'll hit straight on because of the angle of the turbo. So the game plan is to rotate the turbo, the cold side, to where I can hit it right with a 90 straight down, and then that way we don't have any weird angles approaching the intercooler. So let's see if it works. I found the angle of the dangle that's gonna make this all work. You look, now we got a pipe that comes straight down instead of cocked on an angle. Prior to this, let me see if I can find it, there was silicone coupler, small piece, and then silicone coupler, small piece, and silicone coupler. So reduce the coupler amount as much as we can, get rid of that, and now what we can do is shorten this pipe up so it's level with the inlet, and then hit it with a 90 with legs that are long enough to hit the inlet of the intercooler and also hit the cold side on the passenger side. There you have it, under an hour, and we have intercooler piping. But I didn't weld the intake air temp sensor bung in, and I didn't weld the blow-off valve flange on. That was already on there. I reused this piece and this piece so I wouldn't have to weld. But driver side, down, clamped, bish! Passenger side, down, clamped, bish! Actually, none of it's clamped, but it's gonna be clamped and we'll be done with the cold side, which is sick. So we got a good chunk done. I usually try to only put a couple hours in a day because otherwise I get burnt out on projects and end up selling them before they're done. So when we come back, we'll be wiring in gauges, we'll be wiring in boost controller. Injectors should be here any day. I have the adapters for the height and the injector clips coming as well. And we're really not that far off from getting to fire this thing over and see if we can make some oil pressure. And I say that because I've never seen an oil pressure gauge with this engine. So fingers crossed, it has some of that. Until next time, like, share, subscribe, please. Also, the web store is launched. We have decals available. So if you go to clappedout.com/store, you'll be able to see a few of the decals that we have up there for sale. Thank you so much and have a wonderful, so cold, have a wonderful weekend.
I'm stoked on it. I can't wait to get this thing. Awesome.
Betrayed me and then he lied, tried to hide, and I died deep inside, and you know the reason why. I'm gonna kick your ass.